I hope you love some theater because you are listening to Keep Price's Curtain Call. This is Keep Price for Keep Price's Curtain Call. And, man, if you're listening to any of these interviews, you're going to get, it seems like we're getting hotter and hotter and hotter as it goes on. I think I felt so bad for Michael Cullen and Deirdre Madigan because I'm not this way with them, but, they were much more serious. So they were professionals. But again, oh my Lord, Primary Stages is giving it to you with this new piece called Exit Strategy. And wow, I'm lucky enough now to sit and talk to two more people that are involved with this production. The director, Mr. Kip Fagan, is here. Hello.
Hello.
And Miss Christina Nieves. I have to say it like that because this is New York, baby, and I cannot embarrass myself. Ay, Dios mío. Okay, so we have so far I've talked to everybody. All I need now is like a Mrs. Fong to walk through this room to talk about how the energy of education is going on and how everybody is not getting what they need to get out of this. So Christina Nieves, tell me about your part.
Okay, well, I play Janaya. She's the youngest of the crew, other than Donnie, of the teachers, right? And she's just like, she comes with like the tough love. I feel like that's her worldview. It's like, it's very black and white. It's like you can take the girl from the street, but you can't take the street out of the girl kind of thing. Like, that's what she brings, I think. It's just a real tough love kind of philosophy with the students and with her colleagues. And
well, just from the way I've seen the pattern in terms of just who I've spoken to, it's like clearly the idea is that there's the older established ones who have had their turn, and then there's kind of the people in between, and then there's the new blood that comes in. So it sounds like Christina Nieves is playing new blood.
In a way, yeah, she's interesting because I feel like also in her backstory, she comes from a line of teachers, and it's kind of like in her family story. So it's almost like she has an old school mentality about it, even though she's a younger teacher. She's like, if it ain't broke, or it is broke, but we can't fix it. So just keep, toe the line, basically,
I love that, Christina Nieves, with me here, conmigo here on I don't have to work my Espanol. Mira, stop. Keep Fagan. Fagan. Keep Fagan. So, Kip, you are directing this piece, and again, you look like you just graduated from high school, too.
Untrue.
So how has this piece affected you? Actually, this is questions for both of you. How has this piece affected your ideas about education in America?
It was more of a confirmation than anything else, a depressing confirmation, frankly. I mean, I was a public school kid, all 12 years, public schools, in a smaller city, but a smaller city. But it's the same all over, and I was not just in high school. I was in high school, 30 years ago, and
now I really hate them. Because so was I. And he was way younger than I do. But that's another story. I'll bleep that out.
But getting into, when I first started reading the play, and I mean, I knew that, as everyone knows, that our the American public education system is monumentally fucked. It just is, and everyone knows it. And it's hard to think about it too much because it can become depressing to the point of paralysis. Do you know what I mean? The more you get into it, the more stories you read, you just kind of want to like dig a hole and hide in it. And so when I was doing research for the play, and I knew that Chicago was, the pinnacle of the dysfunction. And I had read about Rahm Emanuel and read about the head of CPS who was funneling money and from an already underfunded school system. And I would just get so depressed. So every time I got so depressed that I felt like giving up, I would just go back to the play, which is so buoyant and so funny and so full of life. And Ike is so brilliant at writing these people who are trying so hard, who are full of life, who are full of effort. And I can't quite say full of hope because it's hard to have that much hope in this situation, but full of struggle, And the play is so entertaining, and it's such a wild ride, and the way that he writes is such a wild ride that sort of gives you a lift in the face of this really horrific issue, which I'm hoping, that the way that Ike writes, it's sort of like it's a bit of a smokescreen to what's underneath the play, so that then at the end of the play you're really left with that, but you haven't been sort of bludgeoned by it the entire play, so that you can I think that Ike really encourages outrage in the play. He doesn't encourage depression, he encourages righteous indignation and outrage, so that people who come see the play hopefully will not want to dig a hole and bury themselves in it, but actually like affect some change and get off their ass and like make something happen.
I love it. Kip Fagan with me here on Keith Price's Curtain Call, and it's me, Kip, and Miss Christina Nieves, and we're talking about the play exit strategy. And again, just the conversations that I'm having so far with people and the fear that I have for what our future is. It's sort of like, do you think at this stage of the game now that our system can find a solution to figure out, like, what do you think would have to be the first thing that we really need to do to try to begin the process of fixing education in America, Christina?
Oh, God.
So heavy, right? See, I got you with the Christina Nieves, but you know what? They expected me to get all deep and shit, right?
To be substantial interviewing here.
We only got 2 minutes.
Oh, my goodness. Lord. Well, I'm highly unqualified to answer this question, but I'm an optimist at heart, so I feel like Christina always has to have some hope, or else I will not have children and just, just give it all over to God. But I think I want to believe that conversation needs to be first, right? And I feel like we're reaching this tipping point where it's starting to be a conversation beyond just the communities that it's affecting most, and it's becoming a national conversation. It's becoming a conversation that can't be isolated to just the South Side of Chicago. It can't be isolated to just little pockets of Philadelphia. Right. It can't, just be isolated in the Bronx. It has to. It's spilling over into other communities and becoming a national conversation. So I think more people are having to reckon with it. And that I hope over time, if we really engage in true conversation about it, we'll be forced to at least deal. Because, for the longest time, we just haven't even been dealing, and it's just been avoid, forget, pretend, kind of tactics with the whole situation.
I think just from the conversations that we're having about this piece, it sounds to me that that's been the underlying reason why this school has gone, because people are not paying attention. Right. Is that a fair estimate for someone who haven't seen the show yet, but already getting the true sense of what I'm going to wind up seeing, which is really great? It's sort of like, I don't know. It's like I feel so terrible for kids growing up, especially in a country where we have more prisons than we have college graduates, and a country that has number one, status in the world of prisons, but near the bottom of the pile for education. And nobody's bothered to make the correlation that maybe if you educated people, you'd have less prisons. Mm-hmm. And the less people that are in prison, the more people could be working with jobs and degrees. And also too, God, I wish we had more time. Shit! But I think about the price of education. Do you think that this play really addresses what it means to talk about the cost and the price of what true education of our kids, the true effect of what it is if we spent the money on the kids, that we would see results? It feels like this is talking about the fact that there isn't any money to spend on the kids, and so that's too bad.
I think that the play can't do. It's a slice of a story, right? And it's a personal story. So what you see in the play are the ramifications and the consequences. And you see this really gifted, amazing, articulate, engaged student who's trying to save a school that he's a senior at. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't need to try to save that school. He's going to be gone the next year, but he cares. And when you see, and particularly in the South Side of Chicago, where the fictional school probably lands somewhere in there, there is just kind of a willful ignorance of what's going on over there. Like you go to the North Side, or you when it starts affecting the white schools, frankly, which actually it is in my hometown. That's when people start paying attention, and that's a depressing fact, but it's a fact, and it's good, and that's what I mean. I think Christina is exactly right. What it takes is critical mass for everyone to realize it's a problem, and realize that charter schools are not the panacea solution, and private schools certainly aren't, because we can't afford them. You know. But once the outrage starts to spread, and there's a larger base, because obviously we can do it. It's the wealthiest country on the face of the earth. You know what I mean? But it's a systemic issue, just like the prison issue is a systemic issue. It has to change, but it has to change from the bottom up. It can't change from the top down.
Wow. Well, dang it. Thanks, Kip Fagan. Or excuse me, Kip Fagan.
Thank you.
Kip Fagan. Y también con Christina Nieves with me here on the Curtain Call. We're talking about the play Exit Strategy, and it's at Primary Stages. Kip Fagan is the director. Christina Nieves is one of the performers in this piece. And again, man, this is one of those times when you think that the art is coinciding at a time when people are paying attention to a lot of stuff, and that, again, as I was talking earlier to some of the other cast members about the fact that I don't even think that we've even had a conversation about education in America, and all of this conference and back and forth with Trump and Cruz and all these people. Nobody has mentioned education in America, and it's nice to see that at least as artists, there's a conversation somewhere being had. And even if this is one that holds up the mirror, as Ryan said to me earlier, on this problem, that at least it's going to force a lot of us to look at it. And so, again, Kip, Christina, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me about the piece, and at the same time, taking your time and your energy and your artistic creativity to try to be a part of the conversation. So we will be back at some point in time on this damn curtain call, because I'm worn out already. Shit. Woo, this talk, I feel like I need to just go read a book or something. Oh my God. And again, Primary Stages. Go to primarystages.org. The play is called Exit Strategy. This is, man, it's like, I sit here now thinking I was just going to have this fun, light interview, and I realize now that just in this last 20 minutes or so that I've talked to you guys, that I realize how just this 20 minutes has made a change already in me in terms of what I need to start looking at and start asking of our candidates. And so I hope that if anything that you guys get from listening to all these interviews, that you kind of have that same piece and go back to your communities and see what you can think about doing. Shit, man. Because we got to save these children. I'm losing it up in here. I got to go. Oh, my God. So we are out.